You're listening to Demand and Disrupt, the podcast for information about accessibility, advocacy, and all things disability.
Welcome to Demand and Disrupt, a disability podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Parsley.
And I'm your co-host, Sam Moore. Welcome to this Valentine's Week edition of Demand and Disrupt. Now, as we record this, it is a Friday. In fact, Kimberly, I don't know if you've thought about this yet, but as we're doing this, it is actually a Friday the 13th.
I have thought about that. I have. I'm not. Okay. I was just about to say I'm not scared, but then I stopped myself and started to knock on wood. So maybe I'm a little scared.
Maybe you can't help but think about it a little bit, even if you're not superstitious. You know, it could bring bad luck, but it could also bring really good luck. So I always try to, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So, I always try to look at it like, it could be the best luck ever on a Friday the 13th. So if I have luck today, I'm hoping it's of that variety. But anyhow, it's Valentine's week, like you said, and I'm still single, and I don't mind it at this point. But Kimberly, you've been happily married for how long now?
A long time, 20. You put me on the spot. 27 years, 28.
You didn't know you were going to have to do math today,
I didn't know I was going to have to do math. Long time.
But 27 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I would say you probably have, you and Michael probably have Valentine's Day plans ironed out at this point.
I think we're just going to go out to dinner. I think that's all. I don't,
oh, cool.
Yeah, I think
where are we going? We'll give him a free plug.
Well, we haven't. That's his gift, is he gets to decide where we go.
Oh, that's his call.
Yes, he has to buy me chocolates, and he gets to decide where we go out to eat.
So as long as you get chocolates, as long as he takes you somewhere, he gets to decide where.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty fair, I suppose.
And I've heard it called Galentine's for girls and just Palentine's Day. So, I think it's just a day we celebrate people. And I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, you can celebrate whether you're in a relationship or not. And come back in 2 weeks, folks. We will learn where Michael ended up taking Kimberly for Valentine's Day.
There you go. Yeah, it'll probably be Great American Donuts.
Well, you'll at least get your sweets there. I don't know, if you're looking for protein, I don't know what they have in the sandwich variety or anything like that. But
you know what? I will not complain. A trip to Great American Donuts. So
you will definitely reap the benefits. I will say one thing. Great American Donut Shop is the first donut shop that I've ever been to where I went in and I asked for a jelly-filled donut, and they asked me what kind of jelly I wanted inside.
Really? And what did you say?
Well, I usually get blueberry, but I think I've gone with a few others on occasion, like cherry and things like that. But I think most people just, give you blueberry and run with it, because I don't usually get that option. But at a Great American Donut Shop, or GADS, as the locals call it,
we call it GADS.
You get your jelly-filled options. So just be ready, folks. If you go to GADS and order jelly-filled donuts, you got to make that crucial decision.
And might I recommend the lemon? There's like a lemon filled, and I don't know if it's lemon custard or lemon jelly. Anyway, it's delicious. So
well, whatever it is, it's lemony and it's good.
It is delicious. Yep, exactly.
Have you ever been there at midnight, Kimberly, when they do the hot donuts?
Yeah. We've been there. Yeah, we have done that before.
Most of those are probably in your college days, I bet.
I don't know if it was open in college. I think it was definitely, it may have been a pregnancy situation.
Oh, okay. You were in a sugar crisis.
Right. It could have been that. Apparently, it's a whole thing here in Bowling Green, people needing their sugar fix in the middle of the night, because we also have insomnia cookies here.
That's a chain. I know they've got that.
Yeah. So, and they'll even DoorDash. So, yeah.
So are they open at Insomnia Cookies at midnight as well?
Yeah, they're open till 1 a.m.
Oh, gotcha.
Just don't ask how I know. Just don't ask.
I'll leave that alone. As long as you know.
So I'm going out to dinner this weekend for Valentine's Day. Now, I understand you did something special last weekend. I'm not super familiar with what that was. Can you enlighten me, Sam?
Well, Kimberly, every year that second Sunday in February, they have a big game in the NFL, and they call it the Super Bowl. Does that sound remotely familiar?
I mean, maybe a bit.
So anyway, I hosted a Super Bowl party. Well,
This year, did you?
it wasn't much of a party, but there were three or four of my guys that I had over, and so we watched it. But anyway, the game started Sunday evening at 5:30, and of course, it's a longer game with the extended halftime show and the longer commercial breaks and whatnot. So it ended about 9 o'clock. So anyway, what were you watching during that time frame, Kimberly?
Oh, you know what? I can tell you because the newest season of All Creatures Great and Small
Oh,
from
Mom loves that show.
Oh, does she? It is wonderful. And I have a subscription thanks to our disruptor and chief Carissa telling me about it through Amazon to PBS Masterpiece. And it comes out at 8 o'clock that evening. The newest episode. So yep, that's what I was watching.
That's what well, Mom was watching that on our other TV in her bedroom at 8 o'clock on KET, because KET has it too.
Right. Yep.
So she was watching it last Sunday night at 8, and before that, the first few hours of the Super Bowl, she was watching the Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet.
Oh, cute!
Where all the little dogs run around.
Yes.
And they have little, fancy names for them based on current or former football players. So it's, that is kind of entertaining too. I've popped in on a few of those in years past, but anyhow, along the Super Bowl lines, Kimberly, I listened to a segment on NPR in which Scott Thornhill was a guest, and if that name sounds familiar, he is the executive director of the ACB, the American Council for the Blind, and he actually went to the Super Bowl in San Francisco along with several of his ACB cohorts. I'm assuming these were all bigwigs, high up in the ACB chain, but they all went, and they went, number one, to advise folks from the NFL about how to improve the game experience and the game following experience for the NFL. And number two, they went to test out a device called One Court, and it's I think they call it a haptic device is what it is, and you can feel where the ball is, where it's going, where it's being handed off to on this One Court device. And the NPR lady described it as like a tabletop device, which is shaped like the football field that they're playing on. And I've never used, obviously, one of these because it's still being tested out. And I don't know that I will. You give me a good radio call, as long as I know, how many yards are being gained or who scores and what the score is and whatnot, I'm usually pretty happy. But they're testing out this device, Kimberly, where they can actually use their hands to track where the ball is in real time by feel. Isn't that kind of mind-boggling?
It is. That's very interesting, and it's really expensive, right? I mean,
it's got to be. Whenever it comes, I think it's what I understand, it's still in the testing phase at this point.
Okay.
When it comes out, I'm sure. When it comes out, I'm sure it'll be painfully expensive. Yes.
It could be one of those things like you say, you're fine without it. And a lot of blind people say they're fine without audio description on TV until they have it, like me.
Well, true. And then they realize how much they've been missing out on.
Yeah. So it might be something that you might really enjoy.
Yeah. I might, at least give it a trial run at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the audio description thing too, a lot of times it depends on some movies have more audio, more natural audio than others, and some are more visual in nature, as you know, and I know.
Uh-huh.
But so yeah, that audio description, um, it's more necessary, I guess, in some videos than others. I've used it some, and especially with that website that you told me about the Audio Vault.
Uh-huh. Yep.
.net.
Audiovault.net. Yep. Super
Yeah,
awesome.
I've done it. I've listened to a few videos via that avenue at this point. So thanks for. I knew there was some good reason that I tolerate you on an every other weekly basis, Kimberly.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. Yeah, Audio Vault, audiovault.net is it's just like the audio track of a movie or TV show or things.
Yeah. So even for our sighted friends out there, if you can see, you're not seeing anything if you click on a movie on this Audio Vault site, but you can enjoy listening.
Right. Right.
The dialogue and the audio descriptions being provided.
And also, American Council of the Blind also has the audio description project through them to try to get more, I don't know,
more movies and more
studios
shows
and things to audio describe. So so lots going on there. But
so if there's a movie you want to listen to that maybe you haven't been able to find an audio description for yet, that may be an avenue you want to explore.
There you go. But now this coming Sunday, All Creatures Great and Small has audio description. So
there you go. So for our blind and visually impaired peeps that are into All Creatures Great and Small, you can join Kimberly in following that.
Right. You and your mom could hang out and watch the show together. Which
we should. Mom enjoys all the beautiful, scenery and nature that they show. She's always talking about that.
I hear it's pretty.
But anyhow, yeah, you folks can watch that with Kimberly and then compare notes afterwards.
Fine by me. Hey, I would love it. I absolutely would.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You and Kimberly can go back and forth via email. The address is demandanddisrupt@gmail.com.
Look at you coming in there with the email address. I love it.
Real easy to remember.
You know what? We got all excited about our discussion, and I forgot to tell people who's coming up on the show.
Oh yes, we got so carried away, but that is a very important piece of info.
And it's a great show. It is the people from the Housing Futures Project, which is through Human Development Institute at University of Kentucky, and I am going to be talking to Christina Espinoza. And also, I get a 2-for-1 package. I'm going to be talking to Nancy Savage, and she is head of the CATSNet Assistive Technology Center up there in Lexington.
So we're getting 2 for the price of 1 this week.
2 for the price of 1. Yep. We're going to be talking about housing, specifically housing for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So it's a great project they do to help those people get into homes and do what they need to do. And housing is such a huge issue right now, isn't it?
It is, and there's a definite scarcity out there, and we won't dwell on that too much because it is mildly depressing if you harp on it too much. But what's not depressing is the work these people are doing. You got to commend their efforts, Kimberly, and their quest to get all these well-deserved people well-deserved houses.
You know what? You're right. And what I'd say to those people like Christina and Nancy who are doing this kind of work, like people in independent living centers, when people call and say, hey, I'm about to lose my housing. What I'd say is, it's a thankless job. It really is, because it just seems like there are no good options, but you're doing the Lord's work and keep doing it because
you're doing it for a reason.
Yep. And to those people who are having trouble keeping housing, please know there are people working on your behalf. We've not forgotten about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are people advocating for your cause.
Yes.
For sure.
So unfortunately, housing is all too common, but to switch gears to things that are rare, Not really any more cheerful, but
Rarer, if that's a word.
Yeah. Rare Disease Day is coming up on February 28th.
Very last day of the month.
Yeah, and this I know because I do live with a rare disease. Von Hippel-Lindau, as I've talked about before, is a rare disease. And the National Organization for Rare Diseases, I follow them, and they do a lot of work in this arena.
Sure.
Says there are some diseases that, I mean, you're talking 100 people or fewer have this disease. So it's
so that is rare.
Yeah. It could be real, and you don't have people advocating on your behalf for research dollars when it's that rare.
True, because just not enough people know about it. Frankly.
No, but that's what NORD, National Organization for Rare Diseases, does. Also, there'll be some speakers on February 26th. The Kentuckiana Connective Tissue Foundation is having an event in Frankfurt on February 26th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time in Frankfurt at...
See, I think 701, right? 701 Capitol Avenue.
Hang on, everybody. I know. I'm looking at my...
She doesn't trust me, folks.
I don't, because it's 706.
Well, there's a good reason you didn't trust me. I got the 70 part right.
I don't trust myself either. That's why I took notes.
706 Capitol Avenue.
Yes.
In Frankfurt.
Yep. At the Kentucky State Capitol Education Center. They're going to have speakers. They're going to have a raffle. They're going to talk about some rare diseases and stuff. So, yeah, if y'all are around and that's interesting to you, you should go on out there to help support them. Check that out.
My retinoblastoma isn't nearly as rare, but
unfortunately, that is not rare.
No, but you can find out more about those like Kimberly's that are, and maybe find out about efforts that are going on to promote and maybe emphasize the need for research for those rare diseases that you may have in mind or be familiar with.
Yeah, because those the tagline for the disease that I have, the organization that supports that is the VHL Alliance, is curing cancer through VHL, because the disease that I have, the kind of screwy gene, all cancer cells have the same screwy genetic thing. Not the whole body, but at least these cancer tumor cells, because it's just part of it. So you study these people like me, and maybe it leads to something bigger that can help a lot more people,
Yeah, and I commend the people doing this research, because I know that there are people out there that sometimes, question the effectiveness of cancer research. But it's one of those things that it just takes time, and as technology grows and improves, this research becomes easier and we learn more. And so we just have to be patient and be persistent, bottom line.
Yeah. I mean, there's a drug now for the disease I have. There's a drug. It's not a cure. It's a treatment.
But it's a treatment.
But it's a treatment. It's a treatment. It's a non-surgical treatment, which is very important.
That is key, non-surgical. And it wasn't around when you were first diagnosed, was it?
It wasn't around 10 years ago.
See, so these efforts are paying off.
Paying off. Absolutely, they are. So
yes, indeed.
Indeed. So, Sam, we had a lot to talk about today.
We did. And it was definitely an insightful discussion. Come on back, folks. In a couple of weeks, we'll find out where Kimberly went to eat for Valentine's Day. And
because everybody's on the edge of their seat about that.
They are. They won't be able to sleep until they find out. But anyway, in the meantime, you're going to learn a great deal about the
Housing Futures Project.
Housing Futures Project, yes.
With Christina Espinoza and Nancy Savage. Thanks, y'all. Welcome to Demand and Disrupt, a disability podcast. I am here today with Christina Espinoza and Nancy Savage, and they are from the Human Development Institute at the University of Kentucky. and they are here to tell me all about the Housing Futures Project, which is something I did not know about. So if I didn't know about it, then I assume my listeners don't know about it, and I want you to because it sounds amazing. So, Christina, welcome to Demand and Disrupt.
Thank you, Kimberly. Glad to be here with you today.
So, tell me what the program is.
Yeah, so we at the Human Development Institute applied for funding through the Commonwealth Council on Developmental Disabilities, recognizing that a lack of affordable, accessible housing in Kentucky has been a really significant, really long-standing barrier towards people meeting their independent living goals, people with disabilities in particular. So we have wanted for many, many years to be able to expand the ways that we are able to help address housing related issues, and had the opportunity in this most recent fiscal year. So our project just launched July 1st to apply for the funding through the Commonwealth Council, and we're awarded funds for the project. So we're super excited to have launched in July and to be doing this work.
So, who is eligible to apply for services?
We are wide open to anyone with an intellectual or developmental disability. And so that's any Kentuckian of any age with any qualifying developmental or intellectual disability.
Okay, are there income requirements?
Absolutely not. No, we are here to be as accessible as possible to anyone who needs it. So we don't require any documentation related to disability, any income limitations, or any other information related to, individual characteristics outside of being informed that they have a cognitive, intellectual, or developmental disability.
Okay, and what was kind of the impetus to say, there's a need for this program here in Kentucky? What was the impetus for that?
So I am the division director for community education at the Human Development Institute, and I began working at HDI back in 2008. And so my areas of expertise have been built around universal design, accessibility, and assistive technology. So I've worked on various projects throughout that time, and have continued to learn more and more about folks who could use assistance with either, home assessment, home modification, identifying the funding that might be available to them, and then also figuring out how to use it, finding contractors. I've been able to do this work with smaller pockets of people, but we just know, through our access to the state, through the wide reach that the Human Development Institute has to Kentuckians across our state, that there have been a whole lot of people who haven't had access to these housing related resources. So so through these last couple of decades, we've been looking for opportunities to be able to expand the people that we're able to help with housing related stuff. And this opportunity has been an amazing and exciting way to do that.
So housing right now, it is tough out there.
It is.
Tell me the unique challenges that are faced by someone with an intellectual disability.
Right. And so, our focus is always going to be that person-centered approach, right? So we want for everyone to be able to maximize the ways that they can be independent. And so for people with intellectual disability, historically, that has often meant that they've had to live in congregate settings, or, as they are transitioning into adulthood, still live with, maybe parents or grandparents or another family member. And so we want to also find the ways at that individual level that we can create, the safety and security that someone might need, potentially maybe even the reminders for medications, or, the sequencing of particular events that might be helpful to maximize, that independence. But, the use of remote home monitoring and home automation can really address a lot of things that can take away a lot of those fears for safety, for security, and make it much more attainable for people with intellectual disability to be more independent in their residential settings and their choices for housing, and in the ways they want to live their lives.
That's great. And how many people has the project served so far?
So we've served people in a lot of different ways. And so we've done some trainings with individuals already. We either, there's a lot of different ways that we're here to help. We can do phone consultations, for people who might have a particular question about what devices might be available to meet a particular need. We are also excited to get to do in-home assessments. And so those can be done, for accessibility. So we can come in and do a home accessibility assessment with, exact specifications for that individual in that environment in those different spaces within that home. We're also able to come in and look at some different universal design recommendations that we might make. And we've done this both for homes that people are living in and for, even looking at plans for new builds or for new builds of more residential home settings as well for groups in Northern Kentucky. And so we've also been able to do some just for home automation as well. So we've helped people in a lot of different categories there, and we have intentionally left this project as wide open as we possibly can so that we can be flexible in meeting the needs that someone has. So, for example, one family needs a ramp on their home, and they've been working for years on trying to, work through the waiver process to access the funds that they have available there, and just kept hitting roadblocks. So we're helping to walk through that process of finding the contractors that can submit the bids, submitting those bids through the case manager, and then getting that follow through with the contractor, connecting those funds.
So I think this is a good opportunity to bring Nancy in. So Nancy, when we're talking about accessibility, I assume that when we're talking about like devices and things and automation, that's where you come in. Is that right?
Correct.
So yeah, tell me some of the things that you might do, some of the devices and things that you have there.
Okay, so I work at the HDI Center for Assistive Technology Services Center in Lexington. We are one of the 5 regional centers that are part of the Kentucky Assistive Technology Services Network. So for HDI CATs, the equipment that we have here is available through 2 programs. One is our lending library, and this gives people the opportunity to try out a piece of equipment to see if it's even going to work for them, because if it's not going to work for them, they'll know that without having to go and purchase it. Our lending library has a wide range of equipment that's available for loan, just like you would check out a library book. Typically, we loan for 30 days, but if somebody needs a piece of equipment for longer, we can certainly accommodate that. We have items such as a ramp, a portable ramp. That's in our lending library. That will give somebody an opportunity to either have a ramp built at their house, or if they are recovering from surgery and they need something such as a knee scooter, they can borrow the knee scooter until they can recover. The 2 programs are so great. We have the lending library program that allows you to try out a piece of equipment for 30 days or more, and that will let you know if it's even going to work for you. And that has a wide range of items, such as a door door chime that will ring if someone opens your door and alerts you to that. Another program we have, which is really a big part of, I think, of the Lexington location, is our CARET program.
And tell me about that.
The CARET program is awesome. It stands for Coordinating and Assisting with the Reuse of Assistive Technology. So CARET. We accept donations from people who no longer need a piece of equipment, such as a durable medical equipment, a wheelchair, a knee scooter, a rollator, walkers, canes, anything you can possibly think of, we take. And then once we take those in, we will clean them up, make sure they are safe to give away. We'll enter them into our inventory, and then someone can come into our center, and we will give them that item. We list those on our inventory site so you can kind of see what we have. And to qualify, you don't have to have any kind of qualifications to get a piece of equipment from us. You don't need to show us insurance. There are no income limitations, anything like that. So that's where we've given away quite a bit of equipment to people who need it.
Now, is that the refurbishment program you were talking about earlier?
Yes.
That's the carrot program. Awesome.
And
So if people have something like, I know in the Bowling Green office, we were always getting calls for ramps and shower chairs. So if someone has those and don't need them, they can contact you and say, hey, can I donate this? Right?
yes. And actually, now that you've mentioned it, shower chairs and transfer tub benches are probably our most requested items, along with rollators. So yes, people, if they have something they would like to donate, we will certainly would love to take their donation.
And so tell people what a rollator is in case they don't know.
If you think about a walker, just a standard folding walker that you may see someone use, it's similar to that, except for a rollator will have a seat on it that allows you to take a break if you need to and sit down on it. So
Mhm.
assists you with walking, your mobility, but it also gives you a chance to take to rest and sit on a seat that's part of that piece of equipment.
Now, are those the ones that have wheels on them?
Yes.
Yes,
There
they have wheels and like a handbrake, right? They're
Correct. There are four wheels, and then there's a handbrake that you can use as you're walking with the rollator. But then if you
Mhm.
sit down, you can also push the brake down in a different direction, and it locks the rollator in place so you're safe and you won't be moving when you're in the seating position.
I know so many people who never thought they needed a walker, but then they found out about this rollator and need. I have used one. I have one. I've used it. I have bouts of intense vertigo, so I just need a little more contact with the ground, you know. And I have used it for that. Also, if I've felt a wave coming on, I could sit down. So it definitely helped me be more independent. And I think the one I got was through your program there because I needed it at the time. And so I tried it out, realized it was amazing, and then got one.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah, a really, really great program there. So, what counties does the HDI CAT Center serve?
We serve pretty much, all of Kentucky if necessary. A lot of our counties are close by to Fayette. So, people who live in Georgetown and Nicholasville, these are cities, not counties, but the surrounding counties of Lexington. But if you call from Louisville or anywhere in the state because you need a piece of equipment that maybe a regional center in your area doesn't have, we will certainly give it to you if you're able to come pick it up. So there are no restrictions as far as counties, but of course the most popular counties that we serve are going to be the ones around Lexington itself.
Right. And ramps everywhere, right? Everybody needs a ramp. It's
We do.
always right. Yep. Um, well, thank you for talking about that. I feel like we can't talk about that program enough because it is so very useful because these things are so expensive.
That is so
Uh,
true. Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned like an inventory. Is there a website for people that they can go to find out what's available close to them?
Yes, we do have a website. It is the CatsNet. It's the overall website for all of the Cats networks. It's www.catsnet.appforall.com. So I'm going to spell that because it's
Do that. Yeah.
kind of a mouthful. It is www.catsnet.at4, as in the number 4, all.com. So it reads www.catsnet.appforall.com. So that's a bit
Okay.
of a mouthful, but that is the main network for all of Kentucky. But then you can, of course, when you go on and search for a piece of equipment, you can filter it down to just one regional center if you want to.
Okay. And I will, of course, link to that in the show notes. So my next question, and either one of you can answer this. What are the accessibility needs for someone who has an intellectual disability versus someone who has a physical disability?
Yeah, so that is going to be completely individualized, right? So it might be that someone with an intellectual disability, like we mentioned, needs reminders for medications. They might need help with sequencing of, the events required for getting up in the morning and preparing to leave the house. And it's going to be a lot of items might actually, or considerations might actually carry between categories of disability just based on that individual's process or the way that they get things done. I did want to touch a little bit more on some of the project process and goals, if that's okay.
Um, uh-huh. Can
Oh,
you talk
sorry. Go
about
ahead,
that?
Kimberly.
No, go ahead. You can talk about that some more.
Okay. Yeah. So, our overall goals for the project are to just work towards improving housing outcomes, right? For people with intellectual and developmental disabilities across the lifespan. And so we want to do that by helping to determine what their housing goals and what their housing needs are and helping find ways that we can meet that, right? And so that's hopefully happening through how we're helping to eliminate some of the barriers that exist in independent living for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We want to help think about how we can expand options, both for families across Kentucky and for the individuals within those families. And we want to make sure that we're looking at a few key concepts, not just concepts, but realities. And those are intentionally defined as affordability, accessibility, and also usability. And so that's what our work is really centered around. And I know I mentioned that person-centered, but what we're always going to be doing in this project is utilizing personal futures planning. And so that's where we're thinking about that individual and making sure that they themselves are the ones that are working on determining what their best options are. And that's across all life areas too, right? So we have to look at things like their employment goals and their transportation plans, in addition to their housing and community participation options there. And so, in terms of affordability, what we're looking at is those financial resources. So what are those individualized resources out there that they have access to? And that might be through a waiver they qualify for, that might be through a stable account. And so making sure that we're looking at the whole picture for that individual. And then that next piece we talked about a little bit is that accessibility assessment, right? So that's looking at and ideally having an in-person consultation on how their home, their built environment allows them to get into those different spaces of their home that they need to live in it, right? And then also, like I mentioned, looking at those options for transportation, making sure that within that community they have access to the critical services that they need to get to for healthcare and for banking and just for that independent living.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece we're looking at there, Kimberly, is the usability, right? And so this is where we also think more maybe about people with intellectual disabilities as well. But can that individual living within that home environment use the space as it's intended to be used? And so we're thinking about how someone's using their appliances. Are they able to access their microwave either physically or cognitively, right? Is the match there? Can we use our voice instead to say, set the microwave for 30 seconds or reheat my coffee, instead of needing to maybe either see or reach or touch the buttons on a microwave? And also looking at all of those other areas of environmental control, of which there are hundreds, and those features that just kind of contribute to a good life within our homes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And like if someone needs some of the appliances, like the kitchen is so much trouble, isn't it? It's so much trouble.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So if someone needs like the microwave you talked about, so would they come to you and you all might have or could find the proper device for them to use? Is that how that would work?
Right. So unfortunately, we don't have the funding ourselves to be able to purchase the device. We could certainly help with matching what system someone has selected for their home with the device that would be an option for them, and then helping to identify, what the funding resources would be. Again, we go back to the CATS network. There's an amazing funding guide that they regularly update. I think they're on the 16th edition now, called The Buck Starts Here. And they break down statewide and nationally, also locally and regionally, different funding resources for people to be able to purchase this AT related, assistive technology related equipment. So yeah, we can help with that part of the process, but we're not the ones actually selling or purchasing the equipment.
Gotcha. And is there a link to that? What did you call it? The buck stops here? Where?
It's called The Buck Starts Here.
The
Yes,
buck
and that's
starts here. Wonderful.
correct.
That was an
Yeah.
important correction. Thank you.
So yeah, that is available on the main page of the CATS Network website, and that is Kentucky Assistive Technology Services. So that is KATSNET.org.
Okay. And again, I will link to that in the show notes again, because these are all, I did not know about this, the Buck Starts Here program at all.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
And
it's a funding guide for assistive technology in Kentucky.
that's awesome. That would be awesome to find out about, wouldn't it? Because, as we've talked about so many times on the show, people's needs change over time.
Absolutely.
And what someone can do when they're 30 is maybe different by the time they're 45 or 50. And as those needs change, we need a place to go to. I feel like sometimes people asking for a friend, kind of thing. People feel like, okay, well, I can no longer do this anymore.
Right.
I've because of an additional disability or whatever. But I think the better way to think about it is I have to do this differently now.
Exactly.
And that's so
Right.
great.
Yeah. So yeah, aging in place, right? That's another really significant segment of our population. And people want to stay in their homes or have the option and the choice to choose where they're living, right? And so, yeah, there's very similar principles. And that's an additional population that might not qualify for this particular program with intellectual or developmental disabilities. But that's an additional population that could utilize the exact same principles and the exact same assessment results and the same home automation to identify those modifications to their environment, the ways that they can implement technology and environmental control, and the folks that we can help also with advocating for better housing solutions as they're aging and choosing to age in place.
Absolutely. What a great idea. What a great project. So I wonder if you could walk me through, let's say someone you've helped recently, someone who's come through the program and you consider this person a success story. So without like saying their name or anything, can you kind of tell me what it looked like from start to finish with this person's sort of walk through the project?
I sure can. Let's see, who should we go with here? There have been so many unique individuals, and that's really been a fun part of this project is getting to do so many different things and different parts of the process of independent living. But one that comes to mind is a woman here in Lexington. She lives independently and has some supports. She has a waiver that she's on and qualifies for some funding through the waiver. And she has let's see, some paid support. I don't know how many days a week, but a few days a week in her home. And this woman has some vision loss and some I believe a brain injury, actually. So some intellectual disability related to a brain injury young in life. And so we were able to, have an initial conversation and talked about what some of her goals were. And then we were able to go in and do a home assessment. So this just meant going into her home. She actually invited her waiver support person to be there, and her other support person was also there. And we scheduled a time for an in-home assessment. We evaluated, from the parking lot all the way through her home to evaluate any accessibility needs that we might be able to make some suggestions for, and also just walked through how she's using her spaces and where she's coming up against any difficulty with either seeing or using things in her kitchen and in her living room, from thermostat control for her home, all the way to like making some suggestions around some motion censored task lighting so that some spaces were more visually accessible to her than they had been, and she was able to identify and distinguish between different items within her closets. And so we were able to create a list of recommendations, probably about 13 different items, and they were just kinds of things that we could see with fresh eyes, right? That she just hadn't thought of in a while, or maybe didn't realize she was having, or that there were other solutions to address. And so it's been a really exciting conversation back and forth. And we've been able to make those recommendations. She was able to select a top 10 and submit those through her waiver. So her waiver is helping to fund the purchase of those particular devices. And then I will be going back to help make sure we get the setup and the integration with her smart home technology all working, practice using it some, and make sure it's the right solution for her. So it's been really fun to get to know her, to be able to come in and make some additional suggestions that'll make her independent living a little bit easier and more successful.
Okay, so wonderful. When you talk about a waiver, tell me what you're talking about, or just for people who don't know, because
Sure. Yeah. So there are different populations of folks that qualify in Kentucky for different waivers, right? And so that might be the Michelle P. waiver. There's a traumatic brain injury waiver, and so they receive services and different pots of funding that can help pay for different things. And so a couple of the things that are less utilized within those waiver funds are things like home modifications and the purchase of assistive technology. And many of them have, a small pot of money that can be used sometimes on an annual basis for the purchase of assistive technology, smaller pots of funding. And then several of them have at least a one-time fund that is a larger amount of money, around $8,500, that can be used for home modifications.
is there still do you know what the waiting list situation is with those waivers right now?
Yeah, there are waiting lists for, I believe, every waiver. Right. So that was, Michelle P. waivers were a result of a lawsuit, which opened up a lot of waiver spots. But right, I know there's the supports for community living. There's the home and community-based services waivers, all have waiting lists. But definitely encourage everyone to get on those waiting lists as soon as possible, and hold out the hope to
Exactly.
get one of those waiver spots.
Now, is this something that the Heart Supported Living Grant also might be able to help with?
It certainly is. Yes, that
Awesome.
would be one of the other funding resources. Right. And those details are also in the Buck Starts Here.
Those are on the Buck Starts Here. See, there you go. The questions I had, you've already answered. That's wonderful. Well, this just sounds amazing. Nancy, have I missed anything in terms of the, let's see, the hardware part of the whole thing?
The different centers throughout Kentucky that are part of the CATS network, there's just they're so wonderful, and so many people don't know about the services that they have, that I think we could talk all day just about each center, and what they have available. So I would recommend, if somebody needs a piece of equipment, to go in and visit a center. We love it when people come in and we can show them what we have, because our inventory changes every day. We get donations that are, sometimes you get the pretty standard donation of a wheelchair or a walker, but then we get items that are like, I've never even seen before. So what I would recommend is give us a call. And if you're not even sure what you need, tell us what's going on in your life. And then we have some great people that work here. We'll try to help you see something, as we said earlier, in the with a fresh set of eyes. Maybe it would be a piece of equipment you never even thought about. So yeah, we could talk about this all day, I think, because there's just so many different pieces of assistive technology that are out there and available, and we might have something that you didn't even know that could work for you.
So tell me, where is the HDI CAT Center like physically located?
We are located in Lexington, right off of Nicholasville Road. So we are centrally located in Lexington, which really helps to allow people to come in and visit us. We are at 2358 Nicholasville Road. We are in Suite 180. And we always tell people, if you know where Trader Joe's is, we are right next to Trader Joe's. It seems to be a common place that people know about, but we're right off of Nicholasville Road, not too far from New Circle, so it makes it very easy to get to come visit us. We are also near a bus stop that also helps people get into our center, and we are just at a really great location.
And do you have a phone number?
We do. Our phone number is 859 218-7979.
We forget, I throw out websites a lot, but, some people who are new to disability, they may not have mastered, computers and internet and things yet. So I always think it's important to give a phone number. Well, I don't always, but I'm starting to remember to do that for people.
Yeah, we get quite a bit of calls every day. People
Really?
So you are correct in that. We communicate a lot by the phone.
Awesome. And so tell me, someone who's listened to this and they say, you know what, I think I could use those services. Christina or Nancy, tell me, what does someone do?
Christina, do you want to go or do you want me to?
Go ahead, Nan.
Well, if they need a piece of equipment from the CAT Center, the best thing would be just to give us a call to start with. You can
Okay.
call us at the number I just gave you and talk to us. We do have an email also, and that is hdicats@gmail.com. So there are quite a few ways you can communicate with us. You can give us a call. You
Mhm.
can send us an email. You can start by looking at the website to see what we have for equipment. We will get back to you no matter how you reach out to us.
And what about the Housing Futures program, Christina? How do people connect with that?
Yes, for Housing Futures. Also, multiple ways to get in touch with us, but please feel free to send us an email. Our email address is housingfutures@uky.edu. Our office is also located with the HDI Center for Assistive Technology Services, HDI CATS. So you can reach us by phone at 859-218-7979.
And I know you all respond to email because that's what I did. I got your email, and Christina, you reached out to me very quickly.
Oh, excellent. Glad to
So,
hear it.
yes. And let's just give a shout out to the folks at CCDD. How awesome are they?
Oh, we're so grateful. Thank you so much to the Commonwealth Council on Developmental Disabilities. I think, they recognize this as a really significant need in our state. And we're all working together here to help people be as independent as possible.
Yes, they are. And that's what the independent living movement and program nationwide is about, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah, we used to be lucky enough to share our space here as well with the Center for Independent Living. So we're quite familiar with our independent living centers. So grateful for the work that they're doing as well, and always passing people back and forth to resources that'll help.
Absolutely. The goal statewide is to get people what they need, to get them in their homes and let them stay in their homes, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Nancy and Christina, it has been wonderful talking with you. Everyone, reach out to Housing Futures Project at HDI, and then we'll get you set up with what you need. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Demand and Disrupt is a production of the Advocado Press with generous support from the Center for Accessible Living based in Louisville, Kentucky. Our executive producers are me, Kimberly Parsley, and Dave Mathis. Our sound engineer is Michael Parsley. Thanks to Chris Ankin for the use of his song, Change. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please consider leaving a review. You can find links to our email and social media in the show notes. Please reach out and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks, everyone.
Just for once, I think I would agree. We both know there's a difference. We've had our curtain call, and this time the writing's on the wall. try to make things better, repair and rearrange things, but each and every letter spells out the